So in this video, I would like to talk about object casting in Java. So I have several Java files here, and let's say one is there's a one superclass and there are some subclasses. So the animal is a superclass and it has two subclasses: farm animal, wild animal, and then farm animal has two subclasses: cow, chicken. Wild animal has two subclasses: bear and coyote. And this is an Eclipse project. I have written down the classes with some methods there, but let's ignore them for the time being. So the class hierarchy is like this, and we want to there is a main class which has the main method, and I have already created several objects here. So first one is there is a animal object with animal reference, then there is a farm animal object with animal reference, a wild animal object with animal reference, and then this is our class hierarchy. Then there is a farm animal object with farm animal reference, and so on. It's understandable, all those things. And so first basically casting is changing the reference type, class of reference type. If the reference type is changed to a superclass of the current class, then it's upcasting. And when it's upcasting, it's very simple. It's what we do. Let's say this one, there's a chicken object with chicken reference, and we want to change it to, from chicken we want to change it to farm animal, let's say. So all we have to do is farm animal, and then let's say FC, and then CHICK. All you have to do this one, and this is done. What happens behind the scene is here also the casting is written, but we don't have to write it explicitly. It's implicitly there, present. It's present there implicitly. So we don't have to write it when we are doing upcasting, but for downcasting we do have to write it. So that's what an upcasting is, and it's very straightforward. But while downcasting, we do have to. So downcasting is basically when the new reference type is a subclass of the original type. So if that we want to check that, let's say this one, second one, animal, farm animal, and reference. So here the object type is farm animal, and we want to change the reference type. So reference type, and let's say this is FA2 maybe, and then this one is FA. So basically what we have done is change the farm animal object had a reference type of animal, but we have changed it to a subclass which is farm animal, which is the same, but an object type is also farm animal. And what has happened here is there is no error. It should work fine. It should run fine as well. But let's say when we are saying that it can be a subclass, let's say we want to change it to cow class. So let's say we do it cow here, and then we do also cow here, and still we don't see any error. There is no compilation error. But if we run it, we will see a runtime error, and that will be basically class cast exception, a runtime exception. And here is the exception. What the exception is trying to say, basically what JVM is doing, JVM is also checking whether the new reference type is a superclass or the same class of the current reference type. So what I was trying to say, whatever the object type doesn't change. So object type here is farm animal. Farm animal is a instance of farm animal. So the reference type has to be either farm animal, or a super type of that. But here the reference type is a subclass, so that's not correct. And what it's trying to say, the check is actually we have to see whether the object is a of the new reference type. So we can see that farm animal is a cow. That's not true. Farm animal is an animal because it is a super animal superclass relationship. So That's why it doesn't work. But the compiler cannot catch this error, cannot find this error, because the object is created during runtime, and this due to dynamic binding. So JVM find this error and throws a class cast exception. But from compilation viewpoint, there is no problem, because all the compiler is saying whether the new reference type is a subclass of the original type, but it doesn't know what the object type is. So that's why there won't be any compilation error. So one way to stop this error runtime exception happening is we can do this thing. We can first check this thing, that farm animal object is instance of cow. So whatever we are doing, that one, else. So what happened there? Instance of cow if farm animal. Oh, so that should be a lowercase. So, and else we can just say not an instance of cow. So now there won't be the class cast exception. What will happen? Must be an error here, and the error is I forgot to give the curly brace here. So it's saying not an instance of cow. So that one is there. Actually, I already did it here, so I will just erase that part here. So that's there. So this is one thing. The other kind of problem what can happen is, let's say the same issue we have. Maybe let's do the wild animal now one. So wild animal object, and we are trying to find the reference type is animal. So we want to see wild animal and WA, let's say, and then sorry, there's the I is missing, and this is also wild animal, and we have wild animal. So no error. There is an error because I think I've used it somewhere. So I'll just do one. So there's no compilation error. There won't be any runtime error as well, because the object type, the reference type is a subclass. The original reference type was animal, because this is the object we were looking at. Sorry, not this one. We were looking at this object. Sorry, this one, because this is the object. So reference type of the original object was animal, and the object type was wild animal. So the new reference type is a subclass of animal, which is wild animal, and the object type is the same as wild animal, or it could be a superclass. So it could be not the object type. Object type would be the same, but I'm saying the reference animal type was also okay, because that was a superclass. But now we have downcasted, and so the object type is wild animal. And we have seen before that if we made object type bear or coyote, then there would be runtime exception, because wild animal is not a coyote or wild animal is not a bear, just like previous one. So I won't go there. But what I will do now is, let's say instead of wild animal, we say that if the reference type is a subclass, there won't be any compilation error. So if we do farm animal, let's see, sorry, farm animal, and let's say this one farm animal, there still won't be any compilation error. Why? Because the reference type is still a subclass of the animal type. But of course we can tell that this will be a runtime exception, because wild animal is not a farm animal. It's not in the it's a sibling. It's not wild animal is not a superclass of sorry, farm animal is not a superclass of wild animal. So there will be an error, basically runtime exception. So we have to do the same thing like that to avoid the exception. So we can say again wild animal instance of farm animal, if only then instance of farm animal and then so that else, so we can say not an instance. We can just no, I will just write not an instance for the time being. So that's there, and again we have avoided the runtime exception by giving this. So whenever we are doing downcasting, it's a good idea to put the thing in a try catch block or a if else block, just to avoid the runtime exception. We don't want the runtime exception to occur. So basically what happens is, to summarize, what happens here is, while downcasting, the reference type can be subclass of the original type, but the object type, but we have to, the other thing that so this is what the compiler checks. If the reference type is a subclass of the original type, there won't be any compilation error. If that is true, the reference type, the new reference type is a subclass of the original reference type, then the compiler gives an OK. But what JVM checks is, it looks at the object type, and then it sees whether the new reference type is same as the object type or a superclass of the object type. So the object type has to be a subclass of the new reference type, or as same as the new reference type, because the object type has to have a relationship with the new reference type basically. So yeah, that's all in short. And I actually had one more example here which I will probably talk. It's a bear, and so wild animal, bear and bear, so there is no error. So if I run it, we'll just, so this one is showing true because bear is of course an instance of wild animal, so that's true and there is no compilation error. And farm animal, so this is what I did before, so yeah, I did it again. So I did it before, actually I did it earlier. So yeah, so yeah, thank you.